Hello everyone, I'm Sina Lalabaksh from this account GitHub and this account or channel YouTube. In this course I want to talk introduction about Hugo. So, are you using database to save content that rarely changes? If you're using WordPress, Ghost or other solution for your content site, you probably are, or at best you've set up caching strategies to speed things up and reduce database calls. Database-driven content management system like WordPress led to define a common theme shared across your site, making it a breeze to publish new content. However, since most content doesn't change in real time, you're sacrificing speed and scalability for features that benefit content creators and developers instead of the people who want to read your content. And that additional complexity means you need more resources in production too. More servers to handle the traffic, standby database servers, a caching layer you have to manage, and more. There's no better way to make a snappy content site than by saving static pages from a traditional web service, or a CDN is stand for Content Delivery Network. But you don't have to give up the rapid development features you've come to expect. Static site generators like Hugo here, and you can reach from this link. I hope you can see this. It's very tiny text, and there's no better way to make a snappy content, but I read it. Static generators like Hugo give you fantastic middle ground. You get the theming and content management features of a database-driven site without the bloat, security vulnerabilities, or complexity associated with the caching. Hugo gives you a framework for building a fast, organized content site using many of the skills you already have. You define your layouts in HTML and your content in Markdown. I don't know, Markdown is a language or just a markup language. Anyway, I continue. Hugo has a built-in support for tagging, categorization, related content, multiple output format, image optimization, and asset handling. While you're developing your site, Hugo gives you a web server for testing and automatically refreshes your page as you change them. When you're done building your site, Hugo generates a static site that you can upload to your web server without any dependency. There are other static website generators available like Jekyll or Jekyll, I don't know what it's pronounced. Here we go. What is exactly Jekyll? Just simple blog about static site transfer. Okay, and Gatsby or Gatsby get by. You have to know already JavaScript because it's a React framework based. از اون نتلیفای کلاود and using. Okay, you can reach from this link and this. Okay, two popular and well-known choices. Hugo has a few benefits over those other choices. First, Hugo uses a single binary with no dependency ISA, which means you don't need a complex build chain or additional runtimes like Node or Ruby to get started or use its features. Unlike Jekyll, Hugo doesn't assume you're creating a blog, and unlike Gatsby or Gatsby, I don't know what is pronounced, you don't need to learn React and before that JS or JavaScript to build your themes or content. If you already know HTML and Markdown, I don't know Markdown, but I learned with you. You can be productive right away. Finally, Hugo is incredibly fast when it comes to building the site. It can generate thousands of pages quickly, which comes in handy if you're using Hugo to build something like a documentation website. In these themes is a demo for documentation site. Is here, I think. Docs and there is no demo. You can test every all of these and find the demo site. Is like this. Okay, and with this tutorial you use Hugo to build a personal portfolio site that you can use showcase your skills and those to the world. You'll build a basic skeleton, develop a custom theme, and use content templates to generate new pages quickly. You'll use internal and external data sources to embed content in your site and render some of your content in JSON and RSS. You'll add a blog section with the posts and integrate discuss with your site, and then make your site searchable. It's very important for me. While this isn't a web design book, you'll integrate modern CSS into the site and use Hugo's asset management features to process styles, images and scripts. Then you integrated Hugo with Node.js and Webpack for those situations where you need a little more flexibility. Finally, you'll explore development with Netlify, but I don't use it because in my country I can't to pay. I use Cloudflare for this tutorial. Cloud storage and traditional web hosts, so you can share your work with the world. I hope this explain is useful for you. I continue for a second later, and I use this book. You can buy it from this website and use every benefits and resource from this book. I don't know where I can buy. I think it's here. So if you want it, you can buy from this. Okay. Okay, you will go for first creating websites. All of the steps I say to you is in my account GitHub, in the repository YouTube. Is very late, you see. Okay, is Go language project and more. Like here is uploaded from this Go language project and more for English persons. We are Hugo Installation and about this. Okay. For first time I have a empty VS Code project. Number 1 in terminal, write Hugo, new site, your website name or anything else you wanted. If everything is alright, we get this output. After that, we go change directory to this, but I prefer close this and go to this and again open VS Code. It's convenient for me, you can use your prefer. Okay. Step 3, we need talk about Hugo.toml. This file is written in TOML, a configuration format designed to be easy to read and modify. The default configuration file only has a handful of data, but you'll add more as you build out your site. Hugo internal functions use the base URL value to build absolute URLs. If you have a domain name for your site, you should change this value to reflect that your domain, like project.com, but I don't have it. It's so expensive. Okay, in this tutorial you'll use relative URLs, so you can't leave this value alone until you're ready to deploy your site to production mode. The title value is where you store the site title, like project. You can change it, it's not important. You use this value in your layouts, so change it from its default value. Save the file and exit the editor. You're ready to start working on the site itself. From VS Code I use this option, autosave. You can click that. We don't need to press Ctrl and S for each times. Okay. For building the home page, a typical web page has a skeleton that looks like this. Every time you create a page, you start with a skeleton such as this, and the field in the body section. Your site will likely have a lot more common elements like navigation, a banner, or a footer. As you build out your site, you end up duplicating all of this content on every page, which is difficult to manage if you do it by hand. That's why dynamic sites are so popular. These provide mechanisms to reduce duplication by separating the content from the layout. In a Hugo site, you define layouts that contain this skeleton, so you can't keep this boilerplate code in a central location. Your content pages contain only the content, and Hugo applies a layout based on the type of content. Hugo needs a layout for the home page of your site, a layout for other content pages, and a layout that shows a list of pages, like an archive index or a product list. The following my way you can use it. We go start with the homepage layout. Hugo uses a separated layout for the homepage because it assumes you'll want your homepage to have a different look than other content pages. For example, your homepage might contain a list of recent blog posts or articles, or show previews of other content, or it might have a larger banner image than other pages. For now, you'll keep the home page simple. Okay, create the file layouts. The file in the layout index.html, and I added this. Create a file in layouts directory index.html. And which defines an HTML skeleton for the home page. I use this. And in the title, write this code dot S capital site dot T capital for title. I will explain in a second later. I open a h1 tag and write dot site dot title and write dot C capital for content. That's it for the first. Is okay. To pull in the data and content, Hugo uses Go's HTML templates library in its layouts. While you don't need a deep understanding of how the templating language works, it's worth exploring when you want to build more complex templates. In addition to the HTML code, there are some spots between double curly braces, like I use. There are some spots. This is how to define where content goes, and the content can come from many places. The curly bracket dot site dot title lines pull the title field out of the config.toml from this. And you just edit it and place it into the title and h1 tags. The dot sites prefix tells Hugo to get the value from the site's data rather than from the page's data. As you'll see shortly, pages have their own data that you can't use. The curly bracket .content line displays the content for the page, which will come from an associated markdown document in your site's content folder or directory. Note that this doesn't use the .site prefix because this data is related to the page when you're working with a Hugo layout. There's a scope or context we know in later that contains the data you want to access. The current context in a template is represented by the dot. In a Hugo layout, the context is set to the page context, which looks something like this. I write in here, for example, for you, context, and after that context is like this, and content. Okay. For convenience, Hugo makes all of the site data available in the page context under the site key. That's why you can't do .site.title to get the site title like this. Get the page title, you'd use .title. There are many more pieces of data available to you within this context, and you'll use many of them later in this tutorial. Okay, you've added the curly bracket .content statement to the home page layout, but you're probably wondering where the content comes from. For the site's homepage, Hugo will look for the content in a file name _index.md in the content directory in here, but we don't have it. The special file name is how Hugo finds content for all index pages, like the homepage and list of content like tags, categories, or other collection you will create later. Create the _index.md in content directory. _index.md in content directory. And open in your editor is open automatically. For this example, add a couple sentences and a list of what's on the site, like I write now. This is my Akron project. For English persons. And this site. You reach it. It's very important where you use a star. After that, use space, one space at least. My biography سینالال بخش from Iran, and my project Go language web application programming, and after that my resume. It's in GitHub.com or anything. Yes, .com. Okay. After you added your content, save the file. Is autosave. Time to test things out. Hugo has a built-in development server that you can use to preview your site while you build it. Is a live building. Run the following command: start the server, like this. In the current directory is Go programming and more in here. Okay, I have to change. Here is and, not anf. That's funny. Okay, Hugo server, that's it. And if everything is correct, we have to see this. But I use in other VS Code tab localhost.3030 in here for my another project. You can write in here. It's a default, but Hugo knows and change this port because it's used it before. I Control S for other and Control S for this again. That's it. Is default port localhost 3030. I press Control and click that this. Okay, it's my project. This is my Akram project from English person. Oh my god, what is exactly here? Oh, his context. Okay. In here I have to delete this, and that's it. Here we go. That's building live. It's very good. Okay, if I use this, what's happened? Okay, it's very nice. What I have done, sorry. Okay, for now I vary a lot of speak to you. I see you in later episode. Have a good time and goodbye.